Hi everybody, we're back today. We're doing our burlap flowers. These would be cute to put on a wreath, on a brooch, or you could even do them as a hair clip. I don't think they're really kind of stiff, so they probably wouldn't do as well as a hair clip if you use the Mod Podge on them. You might could do this technique and not stiffen them near as much, maybe using some Elmer's glue and water, and they might work. Or they just would be cute by themselves. But burlap's kind of scratchy, so it probably wouldn't be real good for a little kid's head. Anyway, to get started, what you're going to need is your handy dandy Big Shot or a die cutting machine. Of course, mine's a little Hello Kitty. Let's turn around. Has a bow. And of course, for everybody that knows me, knows I love bling, has a big pink stone in the end of the handle. Okay, so to get started, we have gone ahead and taken our burlap. Here's a piece of burlap that I cut, and I simply brushed on with a sponge brush some Mod Podge, just plain old Mod Podge. I brushed it on and I let it dry, so you can see it's kind of stiff and it keeps the ends from raveling. And it's I use the shiny. I really can't tell. I mean, there is a little glossy texture to it, tint to it. I'm sorry. But it's really cute. Anyway, I let it dry outside. I hung it on a pants hanger for about 30 minutes, and it got dry enough. Here's another sheet that I did just to kind of show what I've done. So, I'm going to have to run it through my die. What I'm using, for those of you who've never seen how a Big Shot works, this is the sizzling Stampin' Up! Big, Large Fun Flowers. This one you can get from a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, but you can also get any flower die that you want to use. A lot of people are using for this project the Tim Holtz Tattered Flowers, and it's really cute too. It has several different sizes of flowers. As you can see, this is foam, and the steel dies are down in there, and there's 3 different sizes of flowers and 2 little centers on it. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your piece of burlap, and we're going to go ahead and lay it on top, covering the flowers like so. And then we're going to use our sandwich. We have 2 acrylic plates. Now, you notice this has all kinds of etching on it. For those of you who do not have a Big Shot, this is totally normal. Every time you use it, it cuts against it, and so you can kind of see there's some hearts and there's flowers and different shapes. Anyway, you make a sandwich out of it. You layer 1 acrylic plate on the top, and then I have my second one, and I'm going to go ahead and put it on my machine. Sorry, I'm having to pick up and go as I do. So then I'm going to sandwich it like so. Hey Josh, can you come here? Going to have a little assistance with this one. Come here, please. Oh! So what happens trying to do things one-handed? Doesn't always work real well. Okay, so I'm going to use my assistant, Josh. Just because it's so much fun to use the Big Shot, I want you to be the one to use the Big Shot. Get it layered. Okay, this is Josh. Josh, hello. Okay, he's going to hold it and start cranking. Oh, you're going the wrong way. There you go. Okay, now go. And it will start cranking. Now, you will hear it crack. That's totally normal. Okay, and the magic part of the whole process. Take your plate apart. Okay, let's set that out of the way. And, whoops, hold it where we can see it. Here, set this out of the way. Okay. Now, show them how you take them apart. And you pull out your flower shapes. And if it didn't cut real good, you can pull it, or you can use some scissors, or you can roll it twice. But see, then there should be one more little piece. Okay. And there's our pieces. Okay. I'm going to move this out of the way. There's actually one other little piece on there that didn't come out. And it's a dot. Alright, there we go. So, we've got this. And we can actually go ahead and do one more big flower piece if we want to. The glue's melting. But this is fine as it is. We'll work with this one. Okay, if you don't mind, set that over on the other side, please. Sit it on my table. Okay. I'm trying not to stop this time so we don't have to start and stop and start and stop. This sheet, for anybody that has a surface that you don't want to ruin with heat or with paint or anything like that, this is fantastic, and it was cheap. I found some in a craft store that were like $20, and I can't remember who they were by. I think Ranger. They're a heat protectant sheet. It's silicone. This is from Walmart. This is going to be my product review for the day. It is the Mainstays Oven Liner. And it says that it heats up to 500 degrees. So, what you can do with this is you can use your heat gun on it, and you can also wipe anything off. A lot of you may have seen my crayon melted paintings. Well, I used my sheet. You can see some of the wax and stuff on there, but I laid my crayons on here when I melted them, and it protects your surface, because what I was having was I was buying expensive rotary cutting mats, and they were bubbling in the middle because I was using my heat gun on them. And you can see I paint on them too, and they're messy. So with this sheet that you just lay on there, and this is big enough for any work surface, you can also use your your hot glue gun on there, and it'll melt. Your glue can come right off. Okay. Alright. I'm done. Thank you. Unless you want to keep playing in video. Alright, so what we're going to do first is I'm going to take, this is just the Folk Art Metallic Acrylic Paint by Plaid, and this is the Pearl White. You can use any color you want, but I'm going to show you. I went ahead and painted some of the flowers, and this just gives you a little shimmer to it. So it kind of shows you just a little shimmer. Okay, scooch. Okay, so what I do, I like to keep little plastic trays and things like this just for paint. You can use paper. I keep cheap paper plates too, work great for it. But you're going to shake your paint up and go ahead and squirt it in your tray. And I'm just using a foam paintbrush. It's real easy. You're just going to hold your flower and brush it with your paint just to give it a good coat, front and back. And you will get a little messy. Alright. Okay, that's painted good enough, and you can just lay it right there on your work surface. And like I said, the great thing, I Mod Podged on it and just ran it in the sink with some water. Came right off. Now the Mod Podge did go through the work surface, through the protectant sheet, and kind of got on my cutting mat, but it wiped right off, and it was really not much of a mess, and I had a lot of Mod Podge on here. So you're going to go ahead and paint all of them. Okay. All of those are covered. I don't have these covered, so I'm just going to kind of squeeze them on there just to give them a little. And this one is really cute. It kind of has a little ripple, if you can see that. And if you don't have a Big Shot, I honestly love my Big Shot more than I do my Cricut. I know there's people out there who are diehard Cricut users, but I like my Big Shot. It cuts fabric, it cuts felt, it cuts paper, and for people like Cheryl who do really cool, big, elaborate doors, these are really great. You could cut out tons of pieces without cutting by hand and then do all your hand painting. For those of us who are not as talented as Cheryl is. Okay, so you've got your first layer on. And what you're going to do next is we're going to do our edges. Now, can you see where I've painted just the edges to give it just a little color, front and back. And on the little pieces, yes, this actually is this flower. I just kind of squeezed it and mutilated it a little so it'll have some 3D texture to it. So I'm going to put a little more paint. Now, you could go really bright if you wanted to, and so I may actually do that, go a little brighter than what I had done before. But what I used was an ink pad refill, and this is one of the new in colors, and it's called, you can't read it, Pool Party.